Hey everyone. So I've been getting a lot of requests on how I make my ghosts, so I figured I would put together a video on how to do that. I am going to be doing most of this one-handed because I don't have a tripod, so please, if I make any mistakes or messes, please be forgiving. So what I've done, I have a bezel here. It's probably about 1.5 inches big, just a black bezel I got from Amazon. I've added some black mica powder. It is, let's see here, it's a luster black from Amazon. And I've added that along with some these are hologram flakes or chameleon flakes from Let's Resin. I've added that to just some regular UV resin from Let's Resin. It's the normal viscosity, the clear hard type. I've added all of that in this little silicone cup and I've mixed it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this for my base. Oh, I got a little something there. So I'm just going to pour some of this into my base. It's a little thick. That's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this dotting tool to spread it out. You don't want this to be too thick because if it's too thick, it won't cure all the way. When this does cure, you'll see a lot of dimples in this layer. And that's okay because we're going to be putting another layer of resin over that before we put our ghost down. So I just use my dotting tool to get this all the way to the edge, all the way around. And that's done. And what I'll do, I'll just give it a little quick flick with my lighter, and I will cure it for 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. So we've cured this for, actually it was 2.5 minutes. You can see that it is a little dimpled there, but it's not a big deal. We will be covering this up with some high viscosity resin from J. Diction. So I will put some of that on there. And this will be our next layer. So we do just the same thing that we did with the other resin. Just put a blob of that on. And then I will spread this out with my dotting tool. You want to go all the way to the edge. I apologize for the snoring. My dog is laying next to me. You want a fairly thick layer of this resin on here. That's why I use the high viscosity, because you want it to look like your ghost is floating in front of the background. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to hit this with my lighter one more time, just to make sure that there aren't any bubbles. If there are, I typically am not very good with the bubbles, but, and then you'll want to cure it again for another 2.5 minutes. Okay, so this is going to be the tricky part. I'm going to try to not get a glare on this. We're going to put one more layer of the high viscosity resin down, and then we're going to add our ghost. So I'm doing one layer here of the high viscosity, the J. Diction. Bring that all the way out and around again. And this time we're not going to cure. We're going to add our white on top of this. Okay, so I have that all the way around. I like using the dotting tools to try to get as close to the edge as possible. You can see here I'm getting really close to the edge, so I got to be really careful with that. And then I'm going to switch to a couple of smaller dotting tools. They come with all different sizes on the tips. For those who haven't used these before, I think I got a pack of 5 for $4 on Amazon. They also have these really cool silicone brushes on the back. So for our ghost, we're going to use this Let's Resin White. I got it from Amazon again. It came in a pack of 3. There were two bottles of white and 1 bottle of black. So for this, I'm going to put down a single drop of the white. And then I'm going to use the larger of my dotting tools to make my ghost shape. Like this. And then I'm going to switch my dotting tool to the smaller of the two and bring some wispies down and over like that. Now, the longer you leave this like this, it will start to kind of go into the clear. So you don't want to do that. So you want to try to do this fairly quick. But you don't want to rush too much that you mess up. So there's my ghost, and I'm going to cure him for another 2.5 minutes. Okay, so the 2.5 minutes are done. You can see the ghost right here. He's pretty small actually on this one, so it's going to be a little tricky putting the rhinestones on for the eyes. They're extremely small. So first thing we're going to do is do a layer of low viscosity resin. This one is Craft Resin brand. You can see it's a low viscosity. I think I got this on Amazon too. My husband's been going crazy because I get so many packages every day. But so we're just going to do a thin layer of this before we put on our rhinestones for the eyes. So we'll just go over the entire piece again. What you could do too, if you don't like your ghost the way it came out, you could actually go over it again a little bit with the dotting tool and some more white. I have done that in the past where I've not liked the shape, or the ghost's body was a little too light, and I've gone over it with some white resin. Before putting any clear resin on, I just went over the cured piece with some more white resin and a dotting tool. But I kind of like the way this one turned out so far, even though he is a little tiny. I need a little bit more of this. And okay. There we go. And now what we're going to do, I use black rhinestones for the eyes. So, what I have here is, I got this from Amazon as well. It's an entire, a big thing full of black rhinestones. What I typically do is, before I even put any of the low viscosity on, I'll actually check my rhinestones and see what eyes would look best. I did that before I started doing the video after I paused it. So I have my rhinestones here in a little cup. I pick them up with my tweezers very carefully because I do tend to lose these a lot. And then I will just place these where the eyes go. So these are really, really small rhinestones. And they're not easy to pick up, so especially with one hand. So then I just put these down on my ghost. And then I will cure again for another 2.5 minutes. Okay, everyone, I'm back. So I forgot to torch this, so I do have some bubbles here. I'm not overly concerned, but there are some bubbles. So this is the last step. What we're going to do is we're going to put down one last layer of the high viscosity resin. Don't mind my dog barking either. And then we're just going to dome this and go over the rhinestones for the eyes and put that last layer on. And then we'll cure it probably for about 5 minutes. I like to cure the last layer for a lot longer of a time just to make sure that there's nothing sticky. Don't get any dust or anything on it in between curing, or I don't like getting any fingerprints on it. So just go around this. And you want to make sure that the eyes are completely covered in the resin, so they're not bulging out of the resin. You don't want to have any bumps, unless you do want bumps, and then you can have bumps. That might look cool too. I'm sure you could do this with any color rhinestones. I was thinking about making some with some red eyes, so I might do that next. But so here he is covered, and I'm going to torch this layer really quick. And then I'm going to cure him for 5 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, so here is our finished ghost. He is pretty cute. A little bit of, could probably add a little bit more resin there. Bevel's a little wonky, but you can see the eyes aren't bulging out. You can see all of his wispies. Yeah, he looks good. Let me know what you think. This was my first ever video tutorial, but so many people have asked about it, so I figured I gotta give my friends what they want. I'm looking forward to seeing all of the ghosts that you make. I enjoyed seeing all of the ghosts that you guys have posted so far. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.